first, this question seemed quite odd, and in fact, even just reminding myself of it just now out of shot made me think, I'm going to stay out of shot and have a little bit of a think about this. See, the question is this. Does the setting need to be specific when writing a book? Now, just to be clear, what the person asking the question is talking about is the setting in which the events of the story happens. They're not talking about where they are when they write the book. From my point of view, the setting where I record my spots for YouTube is quite important. I mean, when I'm indoors, I set up my studio in front of a bookcase for, I hope, obvious reasons. And of course, I can see there's a little screen here next to the camera, so I can see myself. And when I see the bookcase behind me, I feel like I'm in the right setting to talk. I still wander around, and when I'm in the garden, I like to walk quite a lot more. I like to head back further away and wander out of shot when I need to think. So setting's always important, no matter what you're doing. And actually, I think that to answer the question that this particular person is not asking, your setting when you are composing your story, and composing means that you're thinking about what's going to happen. Your composing is when you conceptualize your story or you tell it to yourself. And I do that by going for long walks in the countryside, but each person has their own way. And where you are when you are composing your story and where you are when you are actually writing it down, many people do both at the same time, incidentally, that also matters. It matters because it's actually good to have a place where you do those things, because the association of the place with the activity will stimulate you to do it. That's not the question that's being asked here. The question is, do you have to be specific about where the action of your story actually takes place? And this is what I have to say about it. It takes prodigious and well-practiced skill to write your setting such that any reader will imagine that it is somewhere familiar to them. For example, in North America, depending on how you define it, there are about 8 to 20 different climates, ranging from Arctic tundra through various types of forested and mounted regions, through various types of forested and mountainous regions, to desert and even rainforest. How could you write about the weather in your book at all and still leave the possibility that any North American reader might be able to imagine their own local climate outside their window? You'd have to relativize ruthlessly with expressions like humid for the time of year, or a typical temperature for spring. I'm only putting on the silly accent because I'm imagining this story taking place in North America. But what about how many hours of daylight there are, which also varies vastly across North America? What about the effect of the layout of cities? Effects on the types of buildings that people live in, whether they spend more time indoors or out of doors. Physical location has far-reaching consequences on lifestyle, on occupation, on architecture, and many other things besides that will directly impact the progress of your story. If you try to keep your setting anonymous, not only will you create endless difficulties for yourself, but you will impoverish the story by denuding it of so much local colour and character. Taking advantage of a bit of light coming through the trees there, probably I should look over the top of my glasses when I come in for the close-up shot and say, what is that I said? You will impoverish the story. That's a good line. Okay. Making fun of myself at the end.